cmpradio.net. It's the station.
Yo.
What's up, bro?
What's going on, Uncle P? How you feeling, bro?
Oh, man, listen, I can't call it. I'm just happy to have you in the house, bro.
Oh, man, listen, it's a beautiful week. It's a beautiful week. A lot of great things happened over the weekend, and we're going to get into that, too. How you feeling today, bro?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good.
I was looking at some of the earlier programs from a lot of our segment content creators and stuff like that, man. It's really good to see a lot of the topics that's being touched on and really, really appreciate it. I love the fact that you're bringing in qualified, certified individuals, especially black women who know exactly what they're talking about, bro.
That's what you need.
That's what I need.
That's what you need. Everybody needs it.
Listen, I know everybody needs it, but, to each that receive, you know what I mean? You gotta want to receive it. You know what I mean? You have to understand that correction does not mean chastisement. And I love the way that every segment content creator makes it personal, like even from their own experience to sharing what they deal with personally and streamlining it in a way that helps people, especially somebody like me that is in therapy.
Right.
And, my weekly therapy sessions have gotten a lot better, as you can tell from the way that my content is. It ain't all radical.
But, there's nothing wrong. There was nothing ever wrong with your content.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? I need you to understand that.
Yes,
there was nothing wrong with your content. There was nothing wrong with the way you were delivering. You see, certain people need to be woken up.
Yeah.
Certain people need to be drawn attention to.
Yeah.
And you can't draw attention without being the squeaky wheel. That's what they say. The squeaky wheel gets the what?
Gets all the oil.
Gets all the oil. So, I appreciate you, man. This is the wonderful world of Rich Blye. And, Rich, do your thing, bro.
All right. As usual, folks, you know how much I love each and every one of you, so we're going to start this off with prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for these times. We thank you for the health and strength of our nation. Lord, we thank you for all of the tremendous blessings that we have received in each and every one of our lives as individuals, as groups, as loving members of this entire planet and nation. Lord, as you can see, we are in trouble. We have issues that we are continuing to deal with in humanity. And what I ask for in your name is to give people a spiritual guidance and awakening so that way they can understand that we are not alone. We are not indifferent or intolerant to each other. We just need to find the pathways to love once again, understanding once again, and sharing the common bond of humanity instead of all of these little names that we put on ourselves that mean absolutely nothing. We pray for the families that are going through some of the most heartbreaking devastation with the senseless murders based upon hatred and ideology. We ask for your comfort, Lord, for each and every one of these families that have experienced hurt, pain, or trauma with the recent news of the deaths of two prominent Americans, and Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. We pray for the Bondi Beach massacre victims during Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights in Australia. We pray for those souls that have been lost, again, from the hatred of individuals who promote ideology and hatred. We ask that you bind those spirits today, that you keep us all safe. And we pray for the souls and the families and the spirits of those that were massacred down at Brown University as well. Lord, we have issues, and we have people who are not in a place of great understanding that your spirit of love will prevail. But we ask that you protect us. We ask that you cover us with your blood and that you keep us safe. All these things I ask for in Christ's name. Amen. Now, as I always do, I also cover this station and everyone that is involved in it by reading scriptures. I know that a lot of people, you are not Christians, or you have a certain type of Christianity that you follow. Mine is based upon my experience, my love of the Lord, and the way that I was instructed as I should go by my father and my mother. So it is nothing against anyone who thinks or behaves differently. I'm going to read from the scriptures that I'm used to reading as I grew up. Today's scripture reading will be John, the book of St. John. It is chapter 10, and I'm going to read from verse 1 to verse 38. And it's extensive. Please pay attention because it's going to tie into the subject matter of dominated people. Jesus is the good shepherd. John 10, verse 1. Verily, verily, which is truly, truly. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice. And he calleth his own sheep by name, and he leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and then the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And the stranger they will not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. This parable spake Jesus unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Then Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, truly, truly, a second time, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. This is Christ speaking. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. But he that is a hireling, and not the shepherd, who own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them, and scatters the sheep. The hireling fleeth because he is an hireling, and cares not for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and I am known of mine. As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Therefore doeth my Father love me, because I laid down my life that I might take it again. No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have the power to lay it down, and I have the power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father. There was a division, therefore, again amongst the Jews for these saying, and many of them said, he has the devil and is mad. Why hear ye him? Others said, these are not the words of him that hath a devil. Can a devil open the eyes of the blind? And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. And Jesus walked into the temple of Solomon's porch. And then came the Jews around him and said to them, how long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Christ, tell us plainly. And Jesus answered them, I told you, and you believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But ye believe not, because you are not of my sheep, as I have said to you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father, which gave them to me, is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. I tell people a lot of times that part of my growth comes from the things that my Father has taught me, and that I do not sway away from the teachings and the wise wisdom of my Father. And I know people say, oh, well, your dad didn't know these times are coming, and he probably didn't know it. There are sometimes I wish my dad was still alive, because if he was on this show right now, I would absolutely show you the wisdom of a man who was ahead of his time, because everything that I am, he prepared me for. And that's the reason for John. My father was a shepherd, and I was his sheep, and I knew my Father's voice, and he shepherded me through doors when I needed safety and protection. Dominated people. What's this about dominated people? We've been seeing so much on the news. Again, Men's Mental Health Mondays, that was still part of this program. We are still seeing that we are dealing with people who want to manipulate situations, people, places, things, and scenarios into evil, covert, evil situations. And we need to speak on these things to our people so that way we can approach you with love and temperance and tell you, don't follow behind those that practice evil and wickedness. That's the purpose of reading these parables that Christ spoke of in the Bible, is for you not to follow. If you have the cognitive ability to ascertain, determine, use discernment, and you know that something is wrong, but you go along with it just to get along, you're corrupting yourself. That person in front of you is already corrupted, but you're now corrupting yourself because you're going along with programs that you're not supposed to. So just like your lungs need oxygen to breathe, right, to thrive, your body needs food to thrive, your soul needs joy to thrive. When can you tell that someone has been deprived of joy? And the reason why I say that is because we see people looking good and, smelling good and going about their lives. But we also see a lot of people, or else I see it, where you can look in their eyes and you see the hollowness. And I can basically, based upon the traumas and the therapy that I'm going through, I can see it in people's faces now, whereas I was totally oblivious to it until I started really looking at myself in the mirror every day. Part of my trauma also, part of my solution to my trauma is to erase the creases in my face. When we're so hurt and angry, or we've been broken, and we look at ourselves in the mirror, we don't recognize ourselves, or rather, I didn't recognize myself. And in talking to other people, they have made those assertions as well. So I'm not getting, past myself. I'm group therapy, people I've talked to, individuals I reached out to for their experience and how they dealt with things. And they've said the same thing to me, that they couldn't recognize the person that they were looking at because they didn't see the happiness or feel the happiness or the joy in their life based upon the traumas that they're experiencing. So how can you tell someone is joy deprived? What does joy deprivation look like? Well, when I started my therapy, I could tell you exactly what it looked like. It looked like a mean man with no smile, with no light, with no feeling whatsoever, just totally devoid of any type of feeling, non-reactive to any type of stimuli. At the time, of a lot of these deaths that I was going through, of course, I was drinking heavily, to try to escape the feelings and the pain that I was going through. I really was not into my word, and I put something down because I gave up, and I'm going to speak about that. About, as a dominated person, no one dominated me. I quit. I self-bounded myself to my trauma and decided that this was going to be my life for the rest of my life, and I didn't need to breathe fresh air. I didn't need to eat right. I picked up like 15 pounds. I had picked up 15 pounds. I dropped those 15 pounds, by the way, folks. Don't, oh, you fat, Rich? No. No, not at all. I promise you. I think I'm sitting at what? 235, 237 right about now. I don't like the weight either, but I'm trying to get it down to at least like a 230. But what do they look like, or what does this joy deprivation looks like? Okay, I can tell you from my experience. By reading chapter 10, I realized that I was betrayed by enjoying things that weren't really important, and I had come to believe that if I enjoyed these things, that that it was something that I deserved to just go ahead and do and feel, but they were very reckless, in the times that I was dealing with a lot of the deaths that I was dealing with at the time. And I really thought that by going out and having this fun or whatever, but I also had this sense of guilt and regret later, because a lot of the situations that I put myself into weren't really good situations. They weren't dangerous. They just were not me. The over excessive drinking and finding ways to just not care, and having, thoughts about, not wanting to be on this planet and stuff like that, because that happens in your trauma. But I believe that all of these things were my fault. I really did. And I know that sometimes a lot of folks, when they're dealing with trauma, the first thing we do is look inwardly and say, what could I have done better to change that situation? What could I have done to make things right? Well, I'm here to tell you, none of that applies to you. And this is just me giving you my experience as an observer. I am not the expert. I do not have letters in front of my name. I do not have letters behind my name. But like I said on this program, we have a lot of experts, professionals that come in here and they give of themselves and their expertise and their qualified, certified opinions, because they work with a lot of people more than they work with me. I speak from my personal experience, and I am the result of what those experts do with many other people. I just share my results because I feel as though that's the one part of therapy that doesn't happen on a grander scale, is that you have someone who has gone through similar traumas, and some folks are afraid to give their personal experience because they feel as though that makes them weak. This is the strongest thing that I've ever done, is be public about how I feel navigating these traumas and dealing with issues. I can tell you right now, last Thursday, I had a bad trauma day. I mean, bad. And I reached out to several people and, let them know what was going on. But one person in particular that I reached out to, they understood exactly what I was going through, and They weren't in town at the moment. They were, off with a family venture. But I want to say thank you to Miss Lisa Kelly, my commander at the American Legion. Lisa, you knew what I was going through. You knew what was wrong with me. And even though that you were in a different state with Joe Kelly, my brother, and your daughter Jazz, and, Tom, and I ain't going to forget Tom. I ain't going to forget you, Tom. Ain't going to forget you, Cobes. Ain't going to forget you, Jameson. I got to shout out the whole family. Shout out to the Kelly family. But I just want to say to Lisa on air, Lisa, thank you so much. Thank you so much, my friend. I really, really appreciate what you did for me Thursday. And I know you're going to say, oh, it wasn't that much. Yeah, you know, Lisa. So thank you. It's not that I thought that things were my fault. I want to say this. I lack discipline. Self-discipline, self-control, self-awareness. I used excuses for bad behavior. Me. Okay? Again, like I tell folks, before I point fingers outwardly, I'm going to look at me first, and I'm going to talk about me and my experience, because I think that's part of an issue that we have when folks talk about it. We want to blame somebody else. I'm not in that type of position to blame people for things that were unjustly done or things that I didn't control. What I'm learning is, and I'm working on this very heavily, is self-control. I think that a lot of people, when you're on my page, I do a lot of joking. For those who are on my page and you're new on my page, I started off joking on Facebook. It's not a place where I come and just talk politics or family or whatever. I tell jokes. I'm part of Petty Gang of Chester. I make memes. I do all that type of stuff. It's a lot better than shooting heroin or getting drunk or anything like that. So if you don't like that type of stuff, understand that's my therapy, and I have fun doing it, and I make people laugh, and I laugh at it, and that's all that matters. And I mean, that's all that matters. So if you're on my page and you don't like what I do, kindly take yourself off, keep it moving, don't care. Don't care. Don't. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I have to do what is necessary for my life now. I have to do what's necessary for my well-being. My children are grown. If my children, God forbid, commit a crime, they're on their own because they're grown. I want that very perfectly clear. I have taught my children accountability and responsibility by pointing a finger at me. I never pointed at, oh, watch how these people are and watch how that person is. I gave my children the benefit of my experience, what I did right and what I did wrong. I gave them the examples of it. I took them to the places where I messed up at. I took them down the streets. I sat down with them like my ancestors of old and explained the reasons why. So if any of my adult children come afoul with the law, understand they will be paying for their own lawyer. They will be paying their own bail. I don't do prison visits. I don't condone any type of violence. I don't. I'm a protector. I'm not somebody that's looking for a fight or wanting to pick a fight. But if you come this way, you're going to get a fight, and you probably ain't going to want to fight nobody no more. But I just want to say that very gently for all the powers that be. I am responsible now for me. None of my children are of school age. None of my children live with me unless it was court ordered. None of my children live with me unless it was court ordered. That includes the custody agreement that I had to fight and get for my daughter Tanisha, who comes on my show. Anything that I had to do for my children had to go through a court. It was not because someone loved me enough and wanted me to have my children. I had to do it on my own through the state of Pennsylvania. I lacked discipline. And because of that lack of discipline, I had a dad who was, former military United States Army. He had discipline. So at the age of 16, I went to go live with my dad like most young men do. You get your kid at that age and, mom's been carrying you and letting you do this and letting you do that. You get with a father that's, former military or, has worked a disciplined job, a union member, or someone that has been a person in charge, or someone who carries that mantle of responsibility, always has all their life. Well, you're going to get into a culture shock. So a lot of the things that I didn't learn, I had to start learning. And I had to learn them quick because, again, my dad was a man of very little excuses. Like, he was like, make it good, meaning don't lie. And that's where I get that from. For a lot of folks, I have to give it to you bluntly because that's the only way that I know. I don't know how to let people down easy. I've heard of it. I've seen it happen. I've been taught about it. And when I tried it, can I tell you that it hurts me more than it hurts that person? Because they get over it real fast because they realize what's happening to them. So automatically their fences come up. And while you're feeling bad about having to let somebody down, they're ready to kill you. That won't happen no more. We're going to be on even ground. I lack discipline. I never really saw my dad enjoy life. Only on certain occasions. If we were out socially or he was around people in his Buddhistafa, because my dad was a Buddhist, Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism, the same Buddhism that Patrick Duffy and Tina Turner were a part of, the chanting of Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And I, for a time, lived within my father's spirituality and learned his way of thinking through his religious belief. But I am a Christian. Doesn't mean I didn't betray the word of God or betray the Most High by listening to the instruction of my father, because in the word of God it says, honor thy father and thy mother. I didn't follow the path of my dad as far as the Buddhahood attainment, but I did finish the testing that was required in order to get the certification and to have my own Butsudan scroll. It's a traveling one with the inscriptions on the inside. And this is something that made my father proud when I received it. So I did it because I wanted my father to feel proud about something that he was proud about. It's not a bad thing, but also at the same time, that's not a good thing because that really wasn't for me. But it's part of me now, and I will not let it go. I just want to say that I lack discipline. So I was dominated by having a lack of discipline. I was dominated. What was I dominated by? Oh, as a child, dominated by what people were telling me and things were believable. When I was, one of the things that really got me is because my dad, was an independent truck driver and he really couldn't be around because he was always on the road. So I really didn't have that, throw a football back and forth with the dad, throw the old pigskin around type of relationship with my father. We did not throw footballs around. We did not, he did not come to any of the basketball games that I played, or he did not come to the soccer games that I had. He didn't know how. It's not that he didn't know how. It's just that he was a child when he went to war, and a lot of the interests that most young people have at that time, well, he had to grow up. He had to grow up quick. So coming back from after war, he didn't pick up the whole thing. I had to get him into sports. Like, he wasn't even into football. My dad wasn't even into football. He wasn't. And I literally had to take him to a game to get him to understand it. The same way, and I kid you not, in 2007, what park were we at? Clementon Lake Park. 2007. Got the family over there. My dad, okay, we're going to go to the music park. And, he's hanging out with the grandkids and, having a good time or whatever. And, you know that one wooden coaster that's there? I was like, Dad, we getting on this roller coaster. Oh, dude, roller coaster. Dad, what? You never took me to an amusement park, and we're in one. We getting on this roller coaster. Oh, all right, we get on the roller coaster. Excuse me. Dad, we're getting up front. What you mean? Excuse me, Dad. You fought a whole war in Vietnam. You mean to tell me you afraid to get to the front of a roller coaster? And I think I hit my dad in his pride when I said that. And we got into the front of that roller coaster. And one of the things that I'm absolutely happy about when I open up my photo album book is that I still have that original picture from 2007 of me and my father for the first time, and me as an adult getting on a amusement ride with my dad. And I know a lot of people say, oh, Rich, da, 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 da. And it's like, oh, why didn't you do? You know what? I got it. And that's all that matters to me, is that I have that memory, I have that picture, I have that moment in time, and that nobody can disrupt that feeling ever, no matter what your opinion is. No matter what you think the circumstances should have been with this description of joy, at that moment in time, everything from where I was as a kid, any resentment that I had towards my dad or anything like that dissipated. I felt like a 10-year-old kid again. I was like, 33, 34, something like that, I guess. And we took that roller coaster ride, and I don't know if he was terrified or not, but I saw his knuckles go white a little bit, and it's just fun because I love roller coasters. You can put me on any roller coaster, I'm riding it. That's the first thing I go to is the tallest, fastest, most rickiest, woodest roller coaster. I know. I'm silly like that. I love them. But these disciplines, over time, when you don't sharpen them, start to erode, especially if you allow others or other situations to come in and take advantage of your spirit, of your skill set, of your intellect, of your esteem, of your love. There are a lot of folks who will come in like a thief in the night and steal that from you, knowing that they can gravitate towards you and take that type of energy. And because your kind of heart, because you give people the benefit of the doubt, because we give grace to folks who God wouldn't give grace to. These are energy thieves. Energy thieves. These are people who operate in the spirit. They believe it, and they know they have the power to do this. They believe it. They believe that the word of God is true. They believe it, and they know how to manipulate it. They know it exists. It's those who don't believe, or those who turn away from the belief that we're also, as physical beings, we're also spiritual beings. A lot of people don't want to get in tune with your biomagnetic energy waves. A lot of you don't want to get in tune with your empathic magnetic energy. But there's a lot of people who see that innocence and that naivety that you have with your energy, and they coming right for it. And they're going to find a in, and when they find that in, like a leech, they're on you. And this is usually somebody in your circle. The top 5 people in your life, that's your inner circle. And that's where you start. I lost track of my joy, and I replaced it with what I thought people wanted to see from me. I became as a symbol. I became as a punchline or a joke to some. I became an annoyance to some. And to a lot of other folks, I just became an incredibly great human being that showed my love, care, and compassion for my fellow human being. So there's different types of, views to this glass as everybody turns it and sees a different part of me. And I can say this with all certainty, or everybody with that perception is absolutely 100% right, because you've seen a different side of me at a different time, in a different place, in a different way. You have. So I can't be in denial about what I've shown in my life, past, present, or future. But one of the things that I tell people while I'm going through my daily processes with my trauma and my therapy is that you can't beat me with my past. You can't beat me with a sin that I've already taken to my Father and asked for forgiveness for. You cannot go back to when I was 18 years old and talk about, what you did. It's not what I did then. It's what I'm doing now. But you'll have a lot of people who are in positions, police officers, judges, politicians, school teachers. They look up your information and then they go around the town and they label you as a bad guy. Or I saw him somewhere. Was I committing a crime? Was I doing something unscrupulous? You saw me in a company of people that I don't deny my people on the street, folks. I know that we have some desperados out here. God bless you guys. Stay safe and get off the street. But when I know these people, I don't fraud. I don't fraud on the streets. I don't fraud anywhere for that, but I really, 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 really don't fraud on these streets. I don't play games in these streets. Not one bit. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who's attached to who and where and why. You don't know these things. And a lot of times people will say some reckless stuff out of their mouths, not knowing that, for any other term, everybody could be touched. Everybody can be touched. And there are people out there like that don't have therapy or don't have someone to talk about their feelings or whatever. And we have to be careful with the type of speech that we have. Now, we do have freedom of speech and we do say the things that we want to say. I'm a big proponent of it, 1,000%. But I can tell you with almost certainty, if I'm talking about somebody, I got a reason. And it's usually what you're doing to the people, what you're going to do to the people, and why I got to talk to you the way that I got to talk to you, because a lot of the people are afraid to speak the truth and tell you as a human being that we don't like the way that you're treating us. So I don't have that fear. I have an abundance of respect, but I don't have that fear. I really don't. So I kind of again, lack discipline. I settled into my adult life pretty much the same way as my dad. Work, come home, work, take care of family, work. I've had some interesting conversations with folks who have asked me, Rich, how can you say the things that you say? No, whatever. Well, there were times where I was absolutely single and I absolutely had to raise my daughter. See, the reason why I paused that long is because a lot of times people think that, single dad, you just picked her up or you did a drive-by. I want to say this very gently for anybody that's listening. Not me. I know that a lot of other people will give their experience, the mom wouldn't let me, blah, blah. In the instances of my baby moms, there are several, yes. In the interest of my baby moms, I told each and every one of them, these are mine. These are my children. They know it. If they listen to this program and anybody goes, hey, I know that, hey, isn't Rich your baby dad? He said those kids was his. You know what they going to say? He right. None of them will deny the fact. None of them will deny the fact that I would fight you for my kids. I mean, literally fist fight you for mine. A judge, police officer, whatever. For mine, because like I said, growing up, when I didn't have a lot of things or things that were unjustly taken from me, one of my moments and part of, what I built my house on was that I wanted always to be a good dad. Not saying my dad was bad, he wasn't, but he just wasn't there. And, it's not his fault, but he just wasn't there. I learned from him in my adult life. I didn't learn anything from him as a child. I did not have him for baseball. I did not have him for those things that a lot of the extracurricular activities that a lot of young men have their fathers for. I didn't have that. But what I got was from 16 up until the age of 54 was an education of life from a man who's traveled the globe, who's had some very interesting careers, and had wisdom and knowledge to go with his spirituality. So I learned discipline. And I learned that through discipline comes a certain joy and a certain strength. I learned that my life should never be dominated by today's standards or what society deems as acceptable. Oftentimes, we're put into positions, those who have experienced trauma like me, to listen to cookie cutter solutions that people will get off of TikTok or, a reel will come through on Facebook or something like that or whatever. And don't get me wrong, some of these things are helpful because they come from a place where maybe the content creator got some interesting snippets and broke it down into a 30-second segment for people to understand and digest. Moreover, though, if you're seeking any type of professional help, please seek it through credible and experienced individuals who are like-minded at you, as you, for your individual needs. Everybody's trauma is not the same, even though we share some of the same physical traumas. How we respond to certain stimuli is always going to be different. Your pain is going to be your pain, my pain is going to be my pain, but where we collectively have lost something physically, we bond on that, and then we find ways to assimilate that energy together that creates a certain kinship that we can both move on with, helping one another. But a hurt person can't help a hurt person move up because both of you are hurt, and I learned that in my therapy. I can't, and I tried to be sort of a bridge for my children through all of this trauma that we all experience, because I'm the patriarch and I'm the last one, and there's nobody above me. And I learned this just recently, that that's the wrong message that I was sending to my children. The message that I should be sending to them is get your house in order, meaning get your mind right, get your body right, get your heart right. I've already given you the lessons. I've already said this. This is why when I read John 10:25, Jesus answered them, I told you, and you didn't believe me. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. I told you. It's already there. I say to folks all of the time, we're in this wonderful age where the truth is literally in the palm of your hand. Literally. The truth. The baby boomers, the greatest generation ever. Gen X, children of the atom, the explosive years, the years of conflict, the civil rights years. And then everyone after us has forgotten why we were brought here. You've been robbed. Now that all of the truth has been exposed and we have a greater source of information than what you didn't learn in school, why in the heck are you still crying for somebody to teach you something when the truth is in the palm of your hand? Case in point. During COVID, there was no physical school. There was cyber school. There was, everything was online, whatever, what have you. Well, those students that excelled, those parents were involved. So who was really the teachers? The parents. And this is not a knock at any instructor. This is not a knock at any teacher. I firmly believe in the relationship between home and school. And I mean, it's integral. So please do not misconstrue what I am saying until you hear me all the way out. The parent is the first teacher. You, parent, you're the one that taught your child what are the requirements to go to school. They got to know how to tie their shoes unless you put slip-ons on them, which is a cheat. You have to teach them how to be potty trained because nobody's changing diapers. You have to teach them basic manners. Yes, no, thank you, and please. The basics. Some of you need to re-instruct your children because they just come up and start talking to you like, and I can tell. I have escorted so many children to school. And when I tell you these kids that I have escorted to school, they don't have the, and I hate saying this, but I got to say it the way that it is. They don't have the ratchet attitudes of some adults. Ratchet. As in being somebody else's business or saying things off the cuff because they think it's cute and that since you do it in your home that it's okay to bring it outside. I need a lot of parents to understand something, that I am a super old school type of individual. I don't play with nobody else's kids. When I say I don't play with nobody else's kids, I don't bother your kid. I don't want to bother your kid. I don't want to interfere with the way that you raise your child. But I'm not going to tolerate your child's disrespect, just like I'm not going to tolerate your disrespect at all. I'm not supposed to. You give me any reason in the book why I need to listen to you about your child saying the things that they say out of their mouth. I'm going to tell your child, and you can listen. You can ask about me. Upper Darby, Lansdowne, Philly, anywhere. If your kid says something off the cuff to me like they think they're an adult, I'm going to handle them just like they think that they are. And they will run back to you and say, oh, that man, he said something to me. Well, where we at? I'm going to be standing right there waiting because that's what I expect. I want the parent. I do want you. Not in a mean way. But I want you to understand that if your child had to run back to you and tell you that an adult corrected them, hold on, not disrespected. Because a lot of times your kid will come back, this man disrespected me. No, sir, no, ma'am. As a community, if I see your child about to head in the wrong direction, if I see your child about to get pancaked by a car, if I see your child going off with someone of ill repute, and I know that that person is going to get in trouble, and I know you, and I don't stop your kid, wouldn't I be a jerk off? If I didn't immediately call you on the phone and say, hey, heads up, I saw your kid over here, what's the name? I got plenty of those calls. Because the people who were friends of mine and knew that I had my children, and they knew that these were my kids because my kids were with me everywhere. If they saw them out and about somewhere, they either stopped them themselves or I got a phone call. Just like I did recently last month. Yeah, I know everything about it. I know everything about it. I know everything about what happens to my children. I don't have to call them. I'll deal with them when I catch up with them. because they're adults. But when they were younger, like I told them, there's responsibilities and there's consequences. Make sure that you're responsible so you don't have to face my consequences. Kept it short, kept it brief, kept it understandable. Because, like I told my children, I grew up a screw up. That doesn't mean that you have to. I grew up with not knowing the answer. When you have the answer in the palm of your hand, anything you want to learn, you should not be using the excuse of, my teacher ain't tell me nothing. Well, you're just as dumb as the teacher. If you're using not learning Black history as an excuse and you're typing it on Facebook, I'm going to laugh at you. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I am. I didn't learn about Black history. Well, you got a phone right there. You got access to books. Oh, look at all this Black history I got up here. Look at all this Black history. Look at all this Black history. Look at all this Black history. What's your excuse? And I want to say this to folks. When people make that excuse online, stop them dead in their tracks and ask them, well, do you go on Rich Blye's page? He's got the J.A.C. of Delco. It's a public domain. I have plenty of material for many years about Black history and a whole bunch of Black history facts that you want to learn. And it's open to the public. It is not open for anybody to come in and disrespect any of my friends on my page. You will get kicked off my page. This is a dictatorship on my public page. I'm not going to give you a second chance. I'm not going to hear your explanation. Don't come in here with this white versus Black stuff when it comes to history. Don't do it. You can have a conversation and a point of view, and you can even have a debate without being disrespectful. Please do not come to my page about Black history with all of that political junk. You're going to get kicked off. And I mean it. Listen, I don't owe anybody anything. I don't get paid to run a Facebook page. So I don't owe you anything. It's public. Just like I have the right to limit who's on my page, I have the right to say this. I don't deal with it. I don't argue with women on Facebook. I think that's, clownish. I'll talk to a woman and I'll express myself and my point of view and or my opinion, and I'll articulate it in a way, in a fashion that explains my point of view. But as soon as you get personal, and this is happening a lot recently, when I'm on pages, discussing my opinion with a lot of my friends, that some women in particular, not you, Leslie, I welcome any of your debates. I'm not talking about you, Leslie, but there have been certain people that have decided that they want to take me to task, and you don't know me. Ma'am, I want to say this very gently. I don't belong to you. And it's my number one rule in life is to never argue with a woman that doesn't belong to me. When I mean belong, I do not have any property when it comes to women. What I mean is that if you do not know me personally, or you do not know me from years prior to this radio station and or Facebook, you do not have any right to express how I should be or the way I should think, or how I should change my opinion and the way I should do it, because you don't have my experience, nor do I have yours. I never told a woman how to be a woman, and ain't no woman gonna ever tell me how to be a man. My mother didn't even do that. So there's that. I lost track of the joy and I replaced it with the people who want what they wanted to see from me. I learned that my life should never be dominated by today's standards of what society deems acceptable. I had to learn that God is. I know a lot of folks use a lot of different things to have as a coping mechanism, but expressing the Spirit of the Lord and the work that He's done tremendously in my life It's not a coping mechanism. It is actually my way of life. I'm not coping. I'm living. I'm living in the strength because the joy of the Lord is my strength. And I say that with such confidence because I refuse to be defeated. Refuse. And that's not to say that, oh, I'm being prideful. I'm not. I'm calling the essence of power into my life, calling for it and receiving it, being that vessel so that way I can have that positive energy and not bow down to the forces of evil that'll take you on these paths of destruction through depression, through anger, through jealousy, through wantonness. I had to believe that God is able. So first I had to believe that God is. I had to accept the fact that God is. No ifs, and buts, or about it. God is. So secondly, God is able. Since God is and God is able, that he's uniquely positioned and permanently present and active in my life. Uniquely positioned, permanently present, and active to my life. That's what I had to purpose myself for in the rebuilding process, is understanding that part of the Spirit of the Holy Ghost that enters into my life and permeates through this temple and guides my heart with what other people call a conscience. Call it what you want. I know that still voice when I hear it. I know my Father's voice when I hear it, not my earthly father. I know that voice when I hear it. And I've always known that. I was just in denial. I was in denial. Now, I'm not holy rollering you guys. I'm not saying run out and go to church, everybody. No, I can't do that. We can't promote the gospel like that to folks anymore. We can't get you to do that because there's been a lot of charlatans along the way and a lot of folks who have spread misinformation about what it is to be a child of God. I'm not a reverend. I'm not a preacher. I'm not, licensed. I think a lot of people, when you speak about how God makes you feel, you have to be somebody important. I'm here to tell you, as a lesser being, I have so much joy in serving God purposely through my deeds of what I do for people and how people receive me, because they know and they see in my face I'm very passionate about helping people. I really love seeing people happy. I love being able to be put into a position to help somebody, because basically most times I can say over half of the times of anything that I do with outreach or whatever, I'm the liaison, I'm the bridge. Something from Upper Darby comes to Chester, I'm the guy transporting it. Something from Chester needs to come down to Upper Darby, I'm the guy transporting it. Information I share, I come up here to Chester and I make sure that it comes out to the residents and citizens and taxpayers here, because you're just as important as the people that are around me too, because what affects the first city affects everyone else. You may not believe that, but I'm here to tell you, Chester, there are people who want your spot badly. They want to convince you with 2 words: diversity and affordability. Chester, please do not fall for it. You are a black city. This is my warning to you. Please hear my voice. You are a black city. Please stay that way. The moment that leaves you, you lose your identity. I don't care what nobody says. Just like I told you here first on cmpradio.net that Kamala Harris will not win anything as far as president, and or she will not be a delegate, get any delegates from out of Pennsylvania. Put money on it. Bet me today. But before you do that, please understand, anything that I repeat with full confidence, anything that I'm putting on this airways with full confidence, means that I already vetted the information. It means I already know. You can't convince me otherwise. I know from the source. You don't. I was in the room when it was said, and it's going to be repeated up and down the Pennsylvania Turnpike, in all of the small bars and small churches and rooms and civic arenas. Bye-bye, Kamala. Nice knowing you. For all those that don't know, Pennsylvania belongs to Josh Shapiro, whether you like him or not. And he's going to be a viable candidate, whether you like it or not. So you might as well just go ahead and keep that pushing. If you think that you want to see Kamala Harris as president, it ain't happening. Her time is past. You guys have no idea what the fallout is from her book. You guys have no idea what the fallout is between her and the Bidens. You guys have no idea what the fallout is between her and her home state. The veil has come off. I know you guys want a champion. She's not it. Okay? Third, I have to walk by faith because the Lord is willing. So not only should I understand that God is and God is able, I walk by faith because the Lord is willing, because all I have to do is ask. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they will follow me, and I will give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish. I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never, ever die. Now, I could die a physical death. I already know that. All right, I've been attempted assassination on my life more than twice. I know I can die a physical death, but my legacy will live on through my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren when they appear. Why? Because just like my great-grandfathers, Lasker Carson Bell and John Brown and Dosha Bell and Dora Brown and my grandmothers, Doris Blye and Nicely Dent. For a lot of folks, you have to please understand me. I am different and unique from any of you because most of us do not have a connection from those who have come from the days of sharecropping and Reconstruction. Thelma Hicks Blye. Thelma Berlin Hicks was born March 1st, 1904, the fifth child of Katie and John Hicks at Asheville, North Carolina. Thelma received her education in the Asheville Public Schools with her siblings John Jr., Cornelius, Wade, and Rebecca. In 1922, Thelma married William Blye, And from this union was blessed with 3 children, Peggy, Thornell, and Anna Catherine. Those are my grandfather and my 2 great aunts. In 1943, Thelma moved to Chicago, Illinois, where she worked briefly for the United States Post Office and the United States Air Force. I have a family, like I said, that is military based. Later in 1947, Thelma joined the family of Betty and Raymond Epstein, where she experienced the pleasures of a second young family and a lifelong friendship of Gail E. Clover, David J., and Norman B. Epstein and Harriet B. Bertarach. Now, my great grandmother, Thelma Hicks Blye, passed away on March 31st, 1998. So she was born in 1904, and she didn't pass away until 1998. How much of that Black history do you think I have? How much of her experience do you think I have? Personal experience. Someone who came from a very segregated South, stars and bars, to an even troubling urban setting of Chicago on the South Side. I want to say that it was on the South Side. It was on the South Side where my great-grandmother raised a family. But she worked for the post office and she worked for the Air Force, which means that she had discipline. The same disciplines that were in my grandfather and my great aunts. The same discipline that was in my father. The same discipline that's in me. See, generational discipline is supposed to happen. This is the most successful families. Why they don't have issues is because generational discipline is a thing. Not beating your kids, correcting your kids. Not punishing your kids, correcting your kids. Not punishing behavior, correcting characteristics that will carry them further in life. Something as simple as making them cross the street in an intersection is discipline. See, we love jaywalking. That car better watch where he's going. Excuse me, car's in the road. Road is for drivers. You're a pedestrian. You're not in the crosswalk. You really have no rights. If you get hit by a car, the driver has an obligation to stop if he hits you, but he won't be charged because you were in the road, as long as they can pass a DUI test and all that type of stuff. And more times than not, most people who stop, they experience trauma because you lack discipline. Teach your children in the way they should go. Your children should be crossing at the corners. Your children should understand the lights and the stop and goes of the white people and the orange people. But here we are, all haughty. I ain't got to do all that. I ain't got to do all that. But you expect people to respect you, though. And you expect people to have this instantaneous respect for children. I have none. Unless I see the example of your parenting inside of your child, I'm not showing your child nothing. I'm not showing your child any respect. I'm going to show my own self-respect. I'm going to show my own self-restraint. But if I see that your child lacks discipline, I'm going to look dead in your face and say, hey, what's going on here? You going to correct that? I've been around people who let their kids speak freely, and I mean freely. There's one thing about saying things with a certain respect. My children were allowed to speak freely, but they understood one thing. Say it correctly. We're not friends. I'm not your buddy. Understand I'm still your dad. I'm lightening, bringing down the temperature of the room to a comfortable level. But the moment that you get out of place, I'm going to put you right back in it. So don't go there. How to stop quitting on yourself as a dominated person. How do you stop quitting on yourself? Well, you cannot willpower your way past a system that's designed for protection. You can't. And I learned this because oftentimes in my periods of being angry about something or dealing with something, I quit. I quit. I give up. I'm done. We good for that. I'm done. It's that willpower. That willpower only works when your nervous system already feels safe. And your life does not run on willpower alone. Because if you understood that, you started strong, but you couldn't stay consistent. I learned this. I got the willpower to do it. I could do it. And then when something didn't go right, oh man, I felt alone. I felt defeated. And so here's the steps. And this was broken down to me. Here's the steps, right? Hold on a second, because I got to do this right. So you're pushing, right? You're pushing with your willpower. You push. You push it. I'm working it out, blah, blah, blah. But then you get burnt out, right? You get burnt out. Why? Because you push so hard. Most times without any help. I'm going to explain the layers. So when you're burnt out, you decide, I'm going to fall back. I'm going to retreat. Well, why are you retreating? I'm burnt out. Why are you burnt out? I pushed too hard. Okay, here we go. We're going to keep it going down the line. Once you retreat, when you're in that quiet place, what's the first thing you do? Blame yourself. I ain't work hard enough. I ain't say the right things. People didn't understand me. I don't know what I didn't do right. Why don't people understand me? That's the most hardest thing for people who love so hard like we do, is that the first people that we blame is ourselves. We don't blame you. We don't blame the circumstances, because I'm going to tell you why. We really have no expectation that you're going to come through for us. And I'm not saying that in a mean way, but you got to know how you affect certain people who push for you when you don't come through, when you don't accept that love. And I'm going to say this, Chester, I see y'all do that a lot. And P, I'm going to even say that about the meet and greet. I worked the room. And I told you why I was coming. I wanted to meet all of the content creators because I don't get a chance to meet everybody that has a segment. And I share all of your segments, by the way. I do. There are people on my page that are actively interested in what goes on. Oh, today's Johnny May's birthday, bro. Today's the boy Johnny May. And if y'all don't understand my man Johnny May, he's probably watching right now saying, thanks, Rich, And he's probably around his family and got his dog, and he's probably around a lot of good people right now. And he probably ain't thinking that I'm going to shout him out, but Johnny May, happy birthday, brother. This is a good dude. But he has a different background. But he's a good dude. He runs in different circles, but he's a good dude. This is somebody that would literally give you the shirt off his back. And I know this for a fact. I know it for a fact. But if you first meet him, you're going to be like, ooh. You know, because he lives his life as he should, as an American, and what he believes in. And guess what it is? Being an American. Real simple. He has his symbolisms. He has his things that he adhered to. He has his experiences, both good and negative. But I'm shouting out my brother Johnny May because, like I said, a lot of people, when they see certain friends of mine, they go, oh, that person is an American? Yep, that's who he is. So getting back, once you retreat, you shame yourself. Once you shame yourself, you feel worse. You feel worse because you shamed yourself, because you retreated, because you were burnt out, because you were pushing. And then you stop. That's where you quit. By going down that line. Those 5 things are the reason why, in certain cases, those who are going through therapy quit. Because while we're pushing, we're getting pushed. That was one of the things that happened to me when I was going for the Juneteenth proclamations. Instead of being embraced, instead of being loved like I thought, hey, I got all this black stuff. I got good luck. They ain't gonna give you nothing. From my own people telling me, the white man ain't gonna give you nothing.
And then when the white man do give you something,
I was a sellout.
or they want to get in line with you because they want the white man.
No, they wanted they wanted to just take it. I was in a room the other day talking about, the upcoming, Pennsylvania 250 quincentennial celebration. And I literally had to pull my the law, not the proclamation, the law that has my name in it, and explain to people that this isn't a paperweight. That an actual law says Juneteenth law, not proclamation, law. And in the body of that law is my name. That means my name was written in with the law in Pennsylvania. That's historic. And like I had to tell these folks in that room, I'm the best kept secret of Delco. No one wants to hear the journey of a straight heterosexual black male going after his own history. Y'all don't want to hear that story. And we got people that's going to support that. Oh, man, he ain't nothing. But then cry about not having no straight heterosexual black males for the disciplines of your children. And cry about the fact that you don't have straight heterosexual black males that's going to stand up for black women. But you'll choose them others. And this is no disrespect to the LGBTQ community, but I'm a heterosexual black male and I speak from that experience, rightfully so. And I'm not going to let nobody deter me from speaking with the strength that I have. Because I don't come into nobody else's pool and piss in it. So respect mine like I respect yours. All the time. And that's not threatening. That's not even a warning. That's just a general statement of respect. It's a common courtesy that's kind of lost on people. But that's what actually happened, bro. There are people that actively came and usurped my stuff. Like the upcoming Councilman Kyle McIntyre. This gay white bull decided he gonna have a whole Juneteenth celebration right down in the middle of my black neighborhood and don't even throw me a, hey, we got Rich Blye over here, the guy that got the Juneteenth law for you. He didn't even give me a shout out. And this is what I keep saying to people when you promote these type of folks over top of your own. This is why you don't get people to come and champion for you later. Because you allow that type of foolishness to happen in our own communities. And then when you need a strong heterosexual black male to come in and champion for you, we give you the Jadakiss look. We give you the no look, pass me by. We give you the, well, you asked for that. Not saying that the gay black man isn't strong enough, because I know a lot of strong gay black men that will stand up. Absolutely. My son's one of them. I know a lot of people that have said, you know what, that's wrong because this is what you did, Mr. Blye. This is what you brought us. I was there from the beginning. Mr. Blye, why are they doing that? It's because you as society are allowing them to do that because they hate me. So when they hate me, they tell you to hate me, and you hate me worse than them because you ignore me. Well, let me tell you what's not going to happen in 2026. Let me tell you what I'm taking with me. I'm leaving nothing behind. I'm taking everything with me. There's nothing I'm leaving behind. I'm leaving nothing behind. There will be no residue. There will be no crumbs left over for anybody to shake. In 2026, I'm coming after how Martin said it. I'm coming for my check. From Delco, from Upper Darby Township, state of Pennsylvania. I'm coming for it all. I am one of the faces for Pennsylvania Juneteenth. I am one of the faces for Delco Juneteenth. I will be one of the selections that will be speaking somewhere in Delco when this happens. Or I will disrupt it. You ain't gonna like me when I'm angry. If you're relying on willpower only works when the nervous system already feels safe. We already went down the fact that willpower work knowing that it won't be just enough. The nervous system doesn't care about your goals. It cares about what it deems safe for you. Your nervous system decides before willpower takes over. Knowing the signs and being honest with yourself. Try without self-attacking. Be honest with yourself. Try without self-attacking. Stay in the present moment. Talk to yourself about tiny, forward, progressive steps. Slow movement is better than no movement. Slow movement is better than no movement. We become stagnant when we stay in these places. We do not grow. We do not put ourselves in the sunshine. How many of you, when you wake up, open up your windows and let the sunshine in? You better. Stop hiding yourself in the dark. Put your face to that sun. It's too far away from us, melanated people. You're supposed to have sun. Stop. You don't have to have excessive sun. And this is, hold on, this is for everybody of every shade, everybody shed a wheat. But right now, speaking to the melanated people, stop hiding from the sun. You need it. You need it. You need it. What is TAS? TAS, tiny, actionable steps. Slow momentum. As you're learning to deal with the processes of your trauma, and this is, like I said, I am not the expert. All results, different results may vary, depend upon the user. This is my experience. I'm sharing it. TAS. Tiny, actionable steps. That's all I do every day. I find one thing and I stick to it. Like yesterday. Yesterday, I knew that after it snowed, that I had to shovel myself out. And then the very first thing I had to do was go to my American Legion. And shovel it out. And that's all the way around. Now, I did have some help from the property management group. They come through. They got their little brush guy. And he, very nicely, does the American Legion a service. But I can tell you right now, anybody that goes to the Upper Darby American Legion, you see how wide and how long our front steps are. You see the other side leading up to the parking lot. That's over 150-pound bags of salt right there to keep everybody safe and to maintain our ground so that people are safe. If you go by the Upper Darby American Legion at night and you see the new light system that has been put in place for the American Legion, it actually lights up one city block, one township block. If our lights weren't on at the American Legion, that whole neighborhood would be in darkness. Pitch black. Pitch black. This is a fact. So we have to make sure that when we make these small, tiny steps, that these small, tiny steps build a foundation of truth for yourself. Stop shaming yourself or being mad at yourself. Talk about those tiny, forward, progressive steps. Make sure to mark yourself safe and reinforce your boundaries without putting up barriers. There's a difference between a boundary and a barrier. So remember on Baby Boy, where the boy made a fort and, Snoop came in and said, "What you do, make yourself a little fort?" Fuck no fort. But you know what? The kid was smart enough to make boundaries inside of the house. See, people don't understand the correlation of the trauma, what that boy was going through. He knew that there was a man that wasn't supposed to be there with his mama, so he had to make a boundary for himself so that way he wouldn't be part of the trauma that was existing inside of his home. See, people, you have to go back and look at what's being taught in some of these movies, and you're going to see that life did hit us at certain points. They just hit it in a certain way. But when I go back and I look at certain things and we see old movies, we go,
You understand it different.
You understand it different.
After you experience
After you experience. But see, that's that review. Faith, practice, study, review. See, that's where it goes. We're so busy into faith, practice, study. I got it. But did we do a review? Did we go back and, like, I do a weekly assessment now. I do a weekly assessment. I write my notes, type up my notes, and I literally go back into my file from everything that I did and go, did I say this right? Did I do this right? Did I talk about that? Oh, I forgot to touch on that. Let me add that back in and circle back around to that, because a lot of times when we're going through the paces of life and we're dealing with certain things, we realize that what's important right now is not what we should say right now. We have to remember who's in front of us. And just because we want to deliver a certain message a certain way and get our points across, we have to remember those that are receiving it are looking for something other than the constant repetition of, you should know better, or you better know this, or you better know that, or you better know that. What they do, they're trying for something else because they've been there. That has already satisfied them. They need something a little bit more. You have it to offer, but you don't want to give that right now because you're saving it for another segment. I'm going to stop. Hold on now. Know the signs and be honest with yourself. Okay? Stop shaming yourself or being mad. Stop blaming yourself. Even if you made a mistake, and stop calling yourself names. Stop calling yourself stupid. You are not stupid. You have been miseducated. You are not stupid. You are uninformed. Stop calling yourself ugly. Stop calling yourself fat. Stop calling yourself skinny. Stop calling yourself disproportionate. I'm beautiful. I'm sexy. I'm smart. I am lovable and capable. IALAC. Take those initials. And here you go. I'm going to give you an exercise to give to your kid. It's real easy. It's called IALAC. I am lovable and capable. Take their name, tell them to write their name in the center of a page. Then give them a crayon or whatever color and tell them to draw whatever color or whatever picture that comes to mind around their name. And reinforce while they're coloring or doing the exercise, reinforce the values of what you want them to be and how you feel about them. And then take it and put it on your refrigerator for 30 days and leave it there. Your child is going to come in every day and be reinforced by that one incident that you put esteem inside of them, and that's going to carry them every day, and they're going to remember it for the rest of their lives as they grow up. How do I know it works? I still have notes from my daughter from when she was 11, 12 years old. She's 34. I got them still here, fresh in my book, fresh in my Bible. And I told her I was going to hold on to those things because she wrote them to me, and it boosted my esteem as a father. I didn't just go, oh, baby, that's nice. Folded it up like she gave it to me, same folds. Put it away in a safe place. I know where it is. And when I need that reassurance, I read it again, that review. Okay? Course correction, CC. Remember, you can always change course. You can always course correct. Always course correct. Apologize to yourself. Ask yourself what your body needs and take those small, tiny, actionable steps to commit yourself to fixing it. Stop pump faking. You're pump faking, folks. We know it. Who's your top five? Who's the top five people in your life? Are the top five people in your life benefiting you, or are they benefiting from you? And I'm not talking about children. Your children are supposed to benefit from you. You made them, you had them, you take care of them. I'm talking about your circle. I'm talking about your ace boon coons, your ride or die partners. Are they jealous of you? Are they talking behind your back? Are they sometiming? Are they going to the next person saying, yeah, you know what I mean? I mess with P, but man, punk him, man. I ain't doing that. Da, 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 da. In other circles, can I tell you something? It all comes back to us. I keep trying to tell people, please don't talk about me in the street because you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who you're talking to. I've been in Upper Darby for 26 years. I've been in Philly all my life. I've been in Chester for the past 15. You don't know what alliances and with people that I made and people that love me and I love them back. You don't understand that you might be talking to somebody's cousin, somebody's roadie. I mean, roadie. You don't understand how those old alliances and friendships come back? You young people have to temper yourselves. You really do. Because the old school rules still apply. They're just a little bit more covert nowadays. If you catch my drift, be careful. Be careful. Now I'm going to touch on this subject again because you know, guys, I got to, I got to touch on this subject. Here we go again with the subject of murder. Why? So we had the Brown University mass shootings. They had a suspect. They had to let him go because he didn't fit the profile description. He wasn't, even though he was U.S. military and a sniper, he was not the person. That person still remains on the loose, whoever that person is or persons. Because I always believe in any type of mass shooting, there's always more than one. That's just from people who are privileged to that type of knowledge. The Australian Bondi Beach massacres during the first day of Hanukkah by two extremists who decided that because of their ideological religious belief, remember I put the ideological first, because we understand that in some groups, Muslim, Christian, Zionist, whatever, you have a lot of extremists in every religion. So I'm not here to pick on Muslims or Christians or Jews or Buddhists or anything like that, but they are self-proclaimed, okay? They proclaim themselves as this, so I'm running with it. Cowards. Shout out to Mr. Ahmad El Ahmad, a true Muslim who understand the sanctity and the preservation of life, stepped in with no regard for his own life, health, and or safety, and disarmed one of the gunmen with his bare hands. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Heroes run to the fire. That's why I read from this scripture. The hireling fleeth because he is a hireling. Coward. A hireling. Lackey. Okay? Lackey. A sloth. Someone that is not intelligent enough to be entrusted with anything valuable. Just enough. You can pay him just enough. You can give him just enough, and they will do just enough. Hirelings. We have to let you go in 2026. We got to let you. We love you. We know you good people, but you're dragging us. And you don't want to go no further than what you are. And when the going gets tough, you jet. You don't answer that phone. You don't answer that text. You don't answer that call. You don't show up for that meeting. Now, I know I was late for the segment content creators meet and greet, but I want to ask some people, where were you? And I can ask that. You can answer me. You ain't got to answer P. I want to know. You know why I want to know? And I'm going to tell you why. because CMP Radio is about to go to new heights. It is. I'm here to help it. I'm not just here for a content creator. I love being here. I know what this radio station podcast can do. I know that this producer, owner, engineer, shuttle captain, block leader, you put a hat on him and he gonna rock it. It don't matter. Yeah, I'm giving my boy flowers because that's what you're supposed to do when they in the room with you. And I talk this way, whether I'm in Upper Darby or whatever. This is my guy. And guess what? He's giving us all room to breathe. And you know what we need to do? We need to be the ones with the tires. We need to be that jack. We need to be the radio system. We need to be the air conditioning. We need to be the power windows. We need to be the power seats. We need to be the heated seats. We need to be the seat belts. We need to be the spare tire.
I came to a conclusion.
Yes, sir.
I already have all those things. Right?
Mm-hmm.
See, over the last couple of days, even before the meet and greet, I was just thinking about different things. It's holiday season. I know people are busy. People are doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie invited a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was gracious for that. You feel me? Listen, I just want everybody to come together and talk.
I know that.
Nobody wanted to come and talk. Nobody has to come and talk.
I get that, bro.
The relationships that I'm building with people are real.
I know.
Some of the relationships that I built in the beginning were built off of a facade.
Mm-hmm.
It was fake.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
It was about what I could give and what you could take.
Yep.
These relationships that I'm building now
Mm-hmm.
are real.
Yep.
Because I already know what I'm not supposed to look for and what I don't want. So I get asking, where were they? But the people that were there were the people that were supposed to be there. Right?
Right.
God don't make no mistakes.
Absolutely.
Right. So if you weren't there, for whatever reason you weren't there, that's okay. But the people that were there, the people that were able to come through, and listen, I didn't invite a whole bunch of people. Listen, I'm working on grants right now, bro.
I know.
I got a whole workbook I got to get together so I got so many things on.
And I'm about to put something else on your desk by the end of this week.
So I got so many things I got to approve, disapprove of, and everything. So Leslie's in charge of that.
Listen,
anything that has to do with the community and reach out and activities, Leslie does that, right? And I'm trying to get people to understand. You be like, damn, bro, you ain't tell me. I didn't know a lot about it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I knew about it, but I was doing other things. So Leslie was in charge of that. So, like, bro,
can I say something?
Go ahead.
I'm going to say this, bro. People make time for what they want.
I get that.
Bro, no, stop. See, this is where I'm going to say for 2026. Right. And I'm saying this in my family, and I'm saying this at my American Legion, and I'm saying this for anything that I do as far as outreach and everything like that. That taking me for granted stuff is over.
It is.
No, it's done.
It's been done.
No, it's done. It's done. And seeing as though that I want to tell a lot of folks I am a professional, retired. I know some of you may think that I do not possess the intelligence or the capabilities to run a corporate business. You need to ask about me. Anything I put my hands to makes money. Anything I put my hands to make money. Ask about me. Ask around. There's people on my page right now that have worked with me corporately, that have watched me get promoted, that have watched me go in and look at your systems in place, analyze it, see where your deficiencies are, bring it to the forefront, show you how you can eliminate waste, how you can eliminate some of the things that is dragging your business down, and then move it forward in a positive fashion by having a brand ambassador so that way you can recoup some of the losses and make new friends who want to come in and invest in CMP Radio. That's where we're going right now. We need people to invest in us like we invest in the community. This is not a knock against anyone. We're letting you know that coming into the new year, cmpradio.net is the force that's going to be for Chester, and we are going to grow. We are going to expand. We are going to have field reporters. We are going to have people out there giving street testimonials. We will have a vehicle next year that when we get news stories and somebody's on a scanner that we get right there to get the right story, and we don't have to speculate and do all of this type of stuff. We will grab stories from off the wire from other stories and put it into our program. We will expand it. Oh, it's coming, bro.
Oh, man.
What you mean? That's the way it's done.
That's the way it's done.
That's the way it's done. But we have to call these things into being. And then also you have to understand, if I'm calling it, that means I'm going to do it.
Well, thank you.
Anybody that knows me, P, whatever I say, I'm going to do.
It gets done.
Anything I say is going to, yeah.
Anything that you said to me over the last 6-8 years has come true. If you said it was going to happen, it happened.
I don't have time to fake nobody, bro.
Neither do I.
I want people to know, because I've had some discussions with some people on Facebook, and you know they try to tell me from a national perspective about this and that. Excuse me. When I give you my history, I'm part of that history. I'm part of that Disparia stuff. My family's part of that stuff. The things that were done to abstract black people that you know, I know that personally. It's in my family. My family in Asheville, North Carolina is part of the history of that city. There's plaques, there's memorials, there's pictures, there's all types of stuff of what my family has contributed to that city, in that black city. So why am I going to put my light under a bush because you want to tell me about somebody else somewhere that I don't know going through some type of stuff that don't concern me, when I'm sitting up here fighting for what's already owed to me? When I tell people I don't have property up here in Delco, my family has a plot of land where it is in the deed for my great-grandfather Lasker Bell that this land is for this family. It is never to be sold, and nor is it to be developed on. My great-grandfather knew way back when that America was going to change and it was going to steal land like they did. We had over 40 acres of land. All of the houses that sit on the right and left-hand side of where my family's land is was once owned by us exclusively. And I can say that because I got the pictures of it. But when they put the interstate in, when they did the gerrymandering and the redlining, and this is not Republicans, folks, this was Democrats. I ain't trying to be political, but I just want to put it where it is. That's
both of them. Man.
No, bro. Excuse me. This is the FDR New Deal, and this was the this was the eugenics program. I'm going to talk about that on my next segment.
They have all.
No, of course, they all have done it, but in my family explicitly.
I'm not saying that nobody isn't guilty.
Right. I'm not saying nobody's guilty because they all do it, like I said. But I'm speaking specifically now.
I get it.
Specifically in my bloodline, nobody else's. I can't blame somebody that had nothing to do with the taking of my family's land.
Right.
They didn't do it. I have to go to the source. I can't be abstract and say everybody doing it when I got to go back in time and get the names of everybody that was involved and the decisions that were made as far as the land, so I can go down there and claim my reparations in North Carolina, because I got to come with all of these facts, the who, the what, the where, the why. So as I go through and I see who was involved in your political party and why you did it and the history of you and this, that, and the third. So my outlook on history is going to look different from yours, because Republicans may have done something to you or done something in your area and harmed you, and I'm sorry for that, but you got to feel just as sorry for me when somebody that's Democrat has done something to my family, and it did it intentionally, so much so that President Bill Clinton had to declare it an economic empowerment zone not once but twice. Why would they do that? Because they knew they were guilty. And then we come down to Mr. Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, murdered. Did they officially proclaim that his son did it, or was he still a person of interest?
I think they said he did it.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Mental health is real.
It's beyond real.
Placating mental health is a no-no.
No, bro.
Paying your child off is a no-no. Allowing your child to go through difficulties trying to teach them a lesson is a no-no. But you also have to understand what Chester learned about the man that was up at the Chester train station, that if some people don't want help, you cannot force them. And I know it's been said, sometimes we got to help people against their own. Nope. I'm going to tell you why. Just recently, as of last year, right after the death of my brother, there was a veteran that came in, and he was Army, and he was young, but he was on that stuff. He was on it bad. But we sat around and talked when he came in that day, and he said, "Today's my day. I want to go." I was like, "You sure?" He's like, "Yeah." Now, this is my first time actually getting somebody into treatment. So I call up my sis, Pauline. I'm like, "Pauline, I got one to go. I need you. I stayed with that man for like 3 hours until we got a car because we were having some difficulties at that time, but I stayed with him the whole time. I went up and I saw this man as much as I could right up here in Chester. Bought him clothes, socks. I mean, like, I took clothes out of my own closet because I wanted this man to have, because he was a veteran. And that was why I was putting my heart into it, because he's a veteran. Come to find out, he had a daughter that was graduating from the University of Pennsylvania that was going to be a neurosurgeon. She's on her way. Hadn't had a relationship with her. They started talking. I'm near while he's talking to her. He allows me to talk to her. She thanks me. Mm-hmm. I'm like, "Man, we going to this graduation, University of Pennsylvania, bro. Come on, we on our way, bro. Yeah. And I'm pumping him up.
Right.
A week before her graduation, he hit the street. Went back out there.
Right.
Broke his daughter's heart again.
Mm-hmm.
I was pissed.
Why?
Because I thought I could help him.
You can only help people as far as they can see the help.
I know.
They need to want it.
I thought that I was doing such a good thing and I was helping him and that it was going to be a fairy tale.
Did y'all ever have any conversations about how he felt?
Yes.
Like, how deep did y'all go?
He didn't talk about his veterans experience.
Why not?
Because most vets don't.
Well, that's where the problem
is. Bro,
I'm just saying,
bro. As a son of a Vietnam veteran,
I get it.
Listen,
but you can't have.
We need more veterans.
You can't have the traumas sitting in the closet.
We need more veterans.
We don't touch that.
We need more veterans in the mental health field who can help other veterans with the traumas that they face, because especially if they're wartime, Desert Storm veterans, it's a whole different type of thing, bro. It was bad, bro.
I have brothers, mm-hmm. right? One in the Marines, mm-hmm. one in the Army, mm-hmm. and I ask them questions, right? And mm-hmm. Before I say, "Listen, I don't want to ask you something that's going to set you off." You feel me? Because you get to talk about things, you get to reliving things. Mm-hmm. You know, you saw people getting blown up. You mm-hmm. saw half of a man's body, half of his leg, half of his brain, mm-hmm. half of, you had stuff. So I don't want it that like laid out for me, mm-hmm. right? But give me a point when you realize, like, damn, I'm really at war. Because war in itself, just to talk about we're at war, mm-hmm. puts people in a bad space. Now imagine being on the front line and, like I just said, all that shit's happening around you and all you want to do is make it home. Now you make it home and you don't even feel like yourself because you went through some traumatic, you heard people crying and screaming and hollering and calling out for you. And all you could think about was you making it home. I think it's that guilt right there for the people that didn't make it home, right?
Yeah, survivor's remorse.
So you get caught up in that.
Survivor, absolutely. Most of the post-traumatic stress that veterans face, like we know the symptoms. Like, bro, listen, we know the symptoms. We know the symptoms. And a lot of some veterans are good at conversating. Okay? But most of those veterans have a solid core around them and always have. Some of the veterans don't have a solid core.
You know Andrew Nelson. You met him.
Mm-hmm.
You know he was in the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
Good brother.
Yeah.
I want y'all to do that.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to do that. And this is what I'm trying to talk about. We need these young veterans now. Because here's the biggest thing, and this is what they'll tell you. Every American Legion, every VFW, whatever, will tell you that they made the mistake of when the Vietnam veterans came home, that they did not embrace them. They made them stand in a corner off to a room. They alienate them. They didn't give them the full breadth of that military post-service support.
Why not?
Because of the type of war that it was.
It was still war.
In the eyes of civilians, yes.
In the eyes of the people that fought in World War II and World War I, no, it wasn't the same.
I know. They did not in Korea. They didn't.
But their lives were still lost. Their brothers were prisoners of war.
Yes.
They were the most abused abroad and abused
back home.
At home.
Uh-huh.
And for people to be a part of the military, to shun them because of people up top deciding to do this, that doesn't make sense to me.
And here's the thing, but turnabout is fair play. The Vietnam veterans now are the ones that are embracing the Afghan war veterans and the Iraqi war veterans. And this is where, even like a family, if you make a mistake, you still have a way of coming back and not letting that generational shame continue. And that's why I'm part of it now, because I'm a child of a Vietnam veteran. I know that stigma myself personally for what happened to my dad. I'm not talking about it because, I'm a SAL commander of my American Legion. I'm a kid that grew up watching my father get abused for having on that uniform. The whole reason why I wear camouflage fatigues is to honor my father's service, because I did not serve. And I tell people all the time, they say, are you military? No, I'm an Army brat. I understand. But when I try to tell people that, hey, our veterans, they're not going to open up to you because you cannot have a connection between what they go to. And let me tell you something. I sat up on Army Navy game before I came back up there. I'm with Korean veterans, and I'm with, guys that was at the Guadalcanal, and you know what I mean, places I've never seen or been, and they telling their stories. And you know what I got to do? I got to shut the hell up.
Listen.
And like I tell those men, I hear you, and guess what? Because I'm one of the youngest people in the room, I get to absorb your story. I get to absorb your life. So when these men, God forbid, go to the great beyond or whatever, and somebody says, hey, tell me a story about Jim Davis. How was he? Hey, when Jim Davis first met me, he ain't like me for nothing. He ain't like me. Oh, he loud. He loud. But I can tell you, over the years, that man has seen me work.
Right.
That veteran has seen me work.
Right.
That veteran seen me come into that American Legion and clean it and keep it safe and there for the activities and mop the floors and clean the toilets and do whatever my commander needs me to do, help raise funds for it, to keep the doors open, all that type of stuff. Come out and shovel it by myself. Listen, I could have called a couple of my Sals and said, hey, Sals, we got a job to do. Let's go out here and do that. But you know what? Sals, y'all take it easy. I got this one. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you got to lead from the front and the back and the middle. Sometimes you have to show your team that, guess what? I can do it with you or without you. Okay? If I got to spur you into action, it's going to be because you're going to be shown. And now my commander, when she gets back, she's going to talk to my Sals and say, we do this every time that, there's some snow. Where were you? How come he didn't, and she's going to get on my case too. The next time you call I know how she is. I love you. I love you, Lisa Kelly. But I understand certain protocols with veterans. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You don't understand protocols of veterans. So if you don't understand it, you're not going to be able to get through to them. And they're not going to communicate with you because a veteran always tests you. They test you. Every veteran will talk to you for 5 minutes, and in that 5-minute conversation, they will say something to find out where your head is at. And if you answer it the wrong way, watch how they stop talking to you and they go, They tuned you out because they found that you're a joke. They know that you're a joke. That's how they're trained. I'm dead serious. That's how veterans are trained. That's how they train. So don't get offended. They come with a different whole wiring system. They come with, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't know that. That's why veterans-related stuff has to be peer-to-peer.
Their wiring system is wired on survival.
Yes.
Every interaction, every conversation, every yes, no is based on their survival. So if they don't feel like you're someone safe, they won't talk to you.
Not at all.
Trust me, I know. I've sat around veterans. I've been in rooms with veterans. I've talked to tons of veterans, right? And I respect them, and they know I respect them. So it's a conversation that we're having. You feel me? I'm not here to judge.
No.
You were fighting to come home more than anything. Now you have brothers. As a group, y'all were fighting to come home. There are several members of your group that didn't make it home. You go and you go to his gravesite and you pour something out. You talk to him. You cry for him. You came home and got with his family and tried to make his kids understand who he was and how he died, and if not exactly how he died, that he was a soldier and he was doing it for his country.
Based upon his conviction, based upon his personal choice.
That's it.
You know, and that's where we want our young people to understand. We need you to make those connections to the people who are responsible for your freedom. Stop. Listen, politicians, because 2026 is going to be the year of truth for you guys too. Y'all ain't going to be doing no pomp and circumstances like y'all responsible for freedom. I promise you. I'm going to bust that up. We're going to put the perspective right where it belongs. The men and women of the United States military forces of every branch are the people who are responsible for your freedom. And anybody that sits up here and talks about, I'm responsible for keeping you free and I'm fighting for you for your rights, you are a liar. You are a liar. You're a liar. Don't say it out of your mouth because I'm going to correct it. You are not responsible for my freedom. You did not pick up a weapon. You did not stand a post. You did not fire rounds. You did not clean latrines and burn crap. You didn't breathe in burning oil pits in the sands of the Sahara. You did not fight in the bushes and in the jungles of Southeast Asia. You were not a prisoner of war. You were not killed in action for us to remember you by. In America, your freedom has always been predicated upon those who have given up their personal right and been programmed to do one thing: follow an order. Bottom line, with honor. With that, I'm going to say this. I appreciate the worldwide sympathy for all of those who have lost their lives recently, including Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, the Brown University mass shootings, and the Australian Bondi Beach massacre. What I will say is this. Charlie Kirk didn't get the same type of sympathy, even though Mr. Rob Reiner said some speeches and some things that were derogatory from his platform that weren't right and true about other people, but that was forgiven, and, you know, that's that. But what I will say about this, Mr. President, you got to be better with your grace, sir. And this is correction. This is not me being ignorant or being, trying to belittle what you posted. But I have to say this, Mr. President. I've defended some of your actions. I cannot defend this one. I will not stand up and defend this one because murder is murder. And no matter what, Mr. President, be the leader that you were elected to be. Show the humanitarian in yourself that you say that you have. And for anybody else, murder is murder. Do not politicize it with me. I'm not trying to hear it. I'll see you on the flip side.